In 2009, a man named David Riley was pulled over by California police for a traffic violation. The officers soon learned that Riley's driver's license was suspended. So, following department policy, they arrested him and searched his car. Then, something really important happened. The officers decided to search Riley's cell phone. Think for a moment about everything that's on a phone. They hold a lot more than just phone numbers. They have private messages, photos, social media, bank accounts, and much more. That's a lot of personal information in one place. Riley argued that the search wasn't fair, that he was protected from searches like this. He claimed that the police needed a warrant, a paper signed by a judge giving permission to go through his phone. So, Riley fought for those rights in court. In fact, all the way to the US Supreme Court. There, justices had a big decision to make. Does the right to privacy apply to cell phones too? Riley's case wasn't just about one man and his phone, it was about a bigger question. How do the rights written in the Bill of Rights still protect us today? To answer that, we'll explore why people's rights were added to the Constitution, what freedoms are protected in the Bill of Rights, and how they affect our everyday lives. Are you ready, citizens? We know the founders feared that the government could become too powerful. They wanted to make sure their new government didn't abuse its power. So when the Constitution was written, a bunch of people still had concerns. Some asked, the Constitution has rules for the government, but how do we protect the people's rights? Think back to life under British rule. Colonists didn't have a voice in government. Some even had British soldiers living in their homes. So what rights do you think the founders wanted to protect? Pause here to respond. Maybe you thought they wanted to protect private property, like a colonist's home, or in our time, Riley's phone. Or maybe you thought about promises that people could always practice their own religion, voice their opinion, or get a fair trial. These are exactly the kinds of rights the founders wanted to protect. So, how did they make sure these protections became part of the Constitution? A compromise was made. The writers promised to add amendments guaranteeing individual rights to get everyone to agree on the Constitution. So in 1791, the first 10 amendments, called the Bill of Rights, were added to the document. Remember how only 27 amendments have been added to the Constitution using the amendment process? Well, these first 10 were all approved at the same time. That leads us to another big question. What freedoms are actually listed in the Bill of Rights? The Bill of Rights protects lots of different freedoms, but can usually be divided into three basic categories: individual freedoms, rights of the accused, and limits on government power. The first three amendments guarantee individual freedoms, like freedom of expression. Most of these are the basic rights you use in daily life, like choosing how you worship or what you say. Others protect you from being treated unfairly by the government. Remember the Quartering Act before the Revolutionary War? British soldiers were being placed in people's homes, invading their privacy. The Third Amendment was passed to prevent that from happening again. It says the government can't force you to let soldiers live in your home. Amendments 4 through 8 protect anyone accused of a crime. They make sure people are treated fairly in court. For example, the Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. This means the police can't just go through your stuff and take your things without a good reason. That brings us back to David Riley's phone. When the police searched it without a warrant, he argued that his Fourth Amendment rights were being violated. What do you think? Should the Fourth Amendment have protected Riley's phone from being searched? And why? Pause here to respond. We'll find out in a moment if the Supreme Court agreed with your thinking. For now, let's move on to our last category. The 9th and 10th Amendments, the last two in the Bill of Rights, put limits on the government's power. These are rules that stop the government from becoming too powerful or unfair. The 9th Amendment says that even if a right isn't in the Constitution, it still belongs to the people. I mean, the founders were human. They may have left out some pretty important rights. And the 10th Amendment gives power to the states to make their own rules about things not listed in the Constitution. Together, these amendments remind us that the Constitution doesn't cover everything, and that the people and states have rights the founders didn't specifically mention. But how do these rights actually show up in our lives? Because the Bill of Rights is more than 200 years old, people sometimes think of it just as something in a history book. But the Bill of Rights protects real people just like you every day. For instance, when people post a video or an opinion online, one First Amendment protection is your freedom of speech. What does that mean? Well, for one thing, people can criticize the government and can't get in trouble just for speaking up. Or maybe you've heard of someone who was accused of doing something wrong. Don't they have rights? The 6th Amendment gives them a right to a lawyer and a fair trial. They have a chance to defend themselves in court. Say your family travels across several states for a vacation. No law is going to stop you, even though travel isn't mentioned in the Constitution. The 9th Amendment protects freedoms that aren't even listed in the Constitution. And when David Riley was arrested, the police looked through his phone without a warrant. But in Riley v. California, the Supreme Court said the police couldn't do that. The 4th Amendment protects your digital privacy just like it does with your home or even your backpack. Now, it's your turn. Can you come up with another example? How do the rights written in the Bill of Rights still protect us today? Pause here to respond. The Bill of Rights was written more than 200 years ago. It helps make sure the government respects people's freedoms, whether we're protesting a law, practicing our religion, or defending ourselves in court. The case of David Riley has proven that these rights still apply in today's world. And the Supreme Court's decision shows that these rights will protect citizens as new technology comes along. All of the amendments in the Bill of Rights are still important today. But if you had to choose which one is the most important and why, pause here to respond. Every time you express your opinion, travel with your family, or go online to learn something, or just to laugh, you're experiencing freedoms the founders wanted for all Americans. That's why all of the amendments in the Bill of Rights remain important. They impact your life every day. Next time, we'll take a closer look at the First Amendment and learn about the 5 important freedoms it protects. Until then, remember, democracy must be defended. So vote, debate, participate, and I'll see you next time. Hey.